Alright guys, so as I mentioned on the fishing forum, I just wanted to do a real quick video, just kind of showing how I entered everything onto my graph and some of the icons that I use and the steps I took to try to make sense of everything when I'm out on the water. So on the breakdown of this spot, Mr. Harper talks about trying to decide whether it's going to be better to essentially fish the contour lines of the roadbed on this spot, or if it's going to be better to move up to the shoreline and fish a topwater. So the way I'm going to mark this is really just to giving me casting points for both, and it's going to be up to me to remember that this spot essentially has two different options, based on what it has to offer with the roadbed and the topwater option. So I'm just going to start by marking the roadbed spots first. And I'm going to start those and just mark those with crosshairs for casting targets. Now I've already got it set as my default icon, but we'll go ahead and get started. So the first one is here. The first icon is going to be a target, like I said, and we'll start it right there. And so next to me I've got the map that Mr. Harper provided, and I'm just making sure my contour lines are matching up, which they are, and it looks like he's keeping it right around this depth range. He's working it all the way up into the bend of the roadbed. I'm coming around to the top, still marking him, and this whole time I've got his map right next to me, making sure I'm staying on track with it. And it looks like as this contour line comes in, he's wanting me to focus really hard on that little point that comes in. You can tell there's a distinction. A lot of other casting points are hugging the roadbed, and he comes off of it a little bit on his map, both sides of it, and then just working our way up. That in there also. Alright, so far all we've got is our casting points for the contour lines in the roadbed that he mentions on this spot, and I've backed out so you can see everything, but when I zoom in you can see each one's a target, and what that means to me is to target the place to cast. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and try to find some type of icon that stands out to me a little bit different. That way I can know on this spot that it needs to be different than the contour lines that we're fishing on the roadbed. So something for topwater. So I went back through already, went to my waypoint settings, and then came down, and I don't know, I saw this, looks like a duck. Ducks stay on top of the water, so there you go, that's my topwater. So now I've saved that as my topwater spot, and I'm going to come in here starting about right here. There you go. That's my topwater spot. Little duckies all along this point. And just going to mark this all up on the areas he talked about. And the cool thing too is, I'm looking at this and I'm seeing some contour lines that look good to me. It doesn't mean I can't go in and throw a little spot right there because that looks good. I like that. Now, as you can see, this spot, it's pretty simple. If you read how he explains it, there's no need for really a boat lane marker, or where to drive your boat. So just staying off the spot and picking apart the contour lines first maybe, and then moving into the top water afterwards. I could probably even use the target casting spots once I decide I want to come in and fish the top water as an area to move my boat. But point being, it's pretty obvious where you need to drive your boat on this one. But if it wasn't, you can easily just go back to your settings, go to navigation, go find that car. I like that. There you go. So we got a car because that's where I want to drive. Save, exit, come over here. And now I could say, you know what, right about 14 foot is where I want to drive my boat. And we're just going to use this little, about the 13-foot contour line where we're going to drive the boat. Alright, so now we've got a finished spot, and if you back out, it's going to look something like that. You zoom in, and you know, if you have the article, you pretty well know what to be looking for. I know there's 3 different rows of lines on here, and on this spot there's 2 different points to target, or 2 different types of patterns to target. The inside pattern is like we talked about, it's a topwater pattern. The outside is going to be you know, fishing the contours of that roadbed, and that final outside line closer to the deeper water is just the boat path. And again, too, just to kind of simplify things, once I go out and drive this spot in my boat, I'm going to clear my track, and then when I start my first track on this spot, I'll make sure that I'm really close to where I want to be. That way I can save it, and I'll always have that track for that spot.